don't you give us the reading here of paragraph 6 and 7, and then we'll get to the questions.
All right. The best reason to respect authority spring from love of our love for Jehovah, for our fellow man, and even for ourselves. Because we love Jehovah above all else, we want to make his heart rejoice. We know that his sovereignty, his right to rule the universe has been challenged on earth ever since the rebellion of Eden, and the majority of mankind had sided with Satan and rejected Jehovah's rule. We are thrilled to take the opposite side. When we read the majestic words of Revelations 4:11, we strikes a chord in our heart. How clear it is to us that Jehovah is the rightful ruler of the universe. We embrace Jehovah's sovereignty, accepting his rule in our day-to-day life. Such respect means obedience and more. We obey Jehovah readily because we love him. However, there are bound to be times when obedience will be difficult for us. At such times, we, like the little boy described in the outset, will need to learn submission. We recall that Jesus submitted to his Father even when doing so could seem very challenging. That not my will, but your will take place, he said to his Father.
Okay, very good. So here in question number 1 on paragraph 6, primarily in the A part, is what does our love for Jehovah move us to do?
Well, first thing I see is that it teaches us to respect authority.
Okay, very good. And so let's turn to Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 11 and see what the Proverbs has to say for us here so that we can appreciate these thoughts along in regards to respecting authority.
Well, it tells us, says, be wise, my son, make my heart rejoice, so that I may make a reply to him who taunts me.
Okay, so attaching ourselves to the thought of the heart as it's a seed of motivation. Why is this important?
Well, just like it says here, in Revelations, it tells us that he is the ruler, or he is worthy because he created all things. So he created us. And then we see too here that it tells us that Satan, along with much of the world, has challenged Jehovah's sovereignty and are basically against him. And what we read in Proverbs, it reminds us that if we obey Jehovah, we make his heart rejoice, and that would be something that we would appreciate doing.
Okay.
Because we love him.
Very good. So we can appreciate that point then, can we not? So along with that, and comprehending the further thoughts in the second paragraph, or in paragraph 7, this is what attitude does submission involve?
Well, one thing we know we have to do to be able to submit is we have to be obedient, be willing to be obedient.
Okay. How about obedience? That's an important point, isn't it? Either you are or you aren't. For instance, take for example yourself. You're a carpenter. You know that you have a foreman over your head that directs you primarily. And but say he comes to you and says, Sal, I'd like you to go up to, say, unit number 15 and do this particular project, and I want it done right now. But in the meantime, though, after he leaves, you kind of sway over to these guys that are doing some talking. What do you feel? Do you feel that that's being and showing obedience or disobedience to superior authority?
Well, it's not showing obedience, but that happens quite often. But well, it's something we don't want to do. We know that as him being in charge, he has the authority to put us where he sees fit.
Okay. So we can see then as individuals that are under a certain rule, Jehovah's rule, that we need to show that respect too for that authority in dealing with that. So the B part helps us to further go on and say, how may we show though that we're obedient?
Well, submitting. We got to be able to submit, to be willing to actually do what we got to do. And I mean, like we said, I mean, like the paragraph brings out, it's not easy sometimes, but just as they said too about Christ, here's man, the only man on earth who had never failed, who was perfect throughout his life. And yet he tells us, let not my will but yours take place. So he's given us an excellent example about which direction we should do. And it may not be easy, but that's the correct answer.
Right, good. So it helps us to finalize the thought then in regards to this situation, that there's some things in the 2 paragraphs that help us to identify why we need to show respect for authority. Did you catch those 3 points that were specifically outlined for us to appreciate?
Well, we need to submit, then we need, first we're saying to do it, then we gotta obey. And by doing that, we show that we love Jehovah. And just like in Proverbs, it says, he will tell us that we are wise.
Okay, very good. So we can contemplate these thoughts then. So basically, we can identify then that really, if you think about it, really down deep think about it, what is the seed of motivation? In actuality, from your studies that we've had before, what is what in our human makeup makes it the fact that it is the seed of motivation for us?
Love.
Love and this little, what's this little thing right here ticking?
The heart.
Yes, heart,
condition.
isn't it? From the heart. From the heart we show all these things, don't we? Obedience, we show submission, and in turn that makes us
Wise.
betcha. So next week we'll continue on, so I want to thank you for your comments tonight, and next week we'll go into the next 2-3 paragraphs, okay?
All right, Tony.
Brother King, we very much appreciate the demonstration of the Bible study, and particularly here this month, to demonstrate reaching the heart. Thank you so much. Now at this time, Bill will talk to you afterwards about use of a microphone, speech quality number 17. With your booming voice, you always do excellently there, but we'll talk after the meeting for the sake of time. Thank you. That concludes applying ourselves to the field ministry. So now entering living as Christians, let's all stand that wishes and sing together a song of praise to Jehovah our God, song number 44.
Go ahead.